I don't know what I left out. Tags, seasons, bag limits, the stupid pen thing, the Sunday hunting thing. I mean, I live in a place where there's too many deer. They all agree on that. There's too many. And no matter what, even if you're that trophy hunter that wants just the big buck and you don't care about anything else, deer, no matter what, wander out in the road and get hit by cars all day long. Cars are killing deer all day long, and it's a huge problem. It's a big deal. Nobody's happy about that. Nobody wants to see your grandma hit a deer and it come through the windshield and kill her, and nobody likes to mess up their car when they hit a deer. There's no regulations on that. You can accidentally hit as many deer as you'd like. Nobody's going to come knock on your door and tell you you've committed some sort of federal crime. So why all the fuss over hunting? Why do they have to make something so beautiful so complicated? It really seems when you get mixed up with these people who enforce the rules, it really starts to seem like it's designed for selective enforcement. That way, most people will stay silent. Most people won't have much to say about this. Most people can ignore most of these rules or never even know they exist and go a whole lifetime without having to follow them. But don't get mixed up in the wrong bunch, because I've taken a senior citizen hunting he didn't know he was breaking any rules when a game warden tapped on his shoulder in a wide open, still sunlit field and said, "Did you know your gun's loaded 2 minutes after proper sunset hours?" Do you think he got a break? No, he didn't. Why? Well, why he got his tickets, that's open to interpretation. Not to me. I know why. I don't know. It becomes a very depressing subject because I've seen so many people be scared away from hunting from this book and the dogs that enforce it. And that's a shame. Trying to make this a positive, trying to end this on a positive note, but I don't know how. I think that this book is a sad story. That's what I think. I don't know. Don't know. I guess the moral of the story is to... I don't know what the moral of the story is. Really, the only thing that I have with this book, to me, like, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. Like, to me, if it doesn't make sense, and I think you can look at things from a bunch of different ways and figure out how they make sense. And when you take something that makes sense and then confuse it with all of this nonsense, this whole thing becomes very confusing. And we have to wonder why it can't just be a little bit simpler. Why can't they just make it a little bit simpler? Maybe then it would be a little bit easier to not be treated like a criminal. But that might be half the trouble in the first place. If when you have the Catholic gang the Catholic gang, making it so that priests have to be celibate. We all see what that got us. That got a giant gang of weirdos. If you've ever met a Catholic priest, it is 100% fact he is a weirdo. No wild animal, no natural creature would ever choose to be celibate. That doesn't happen. But humans have quite a lot of mental issues among us. And sometimes they're not that easy to see, but all you have to do is look at those guys with the black and white collars, and you will see that that is a club of weirdos. They signed up for that reason. Who would sign up for such a thing? A weirdo. Someone with issues. Someone with serious mental issues would sign up for that. And when you have these clubs, you sort of get the people who belong in the club. When you have clubs like the police, the largest gang in the world, you attract hawks. Not actual hawks, people with the mindset of a hawk. The people who join the police academy are looking for a few things. They're looking for the ability to not follow the rules themselves. You can pretty much do anything yourself once you're a law enforcement officer. You also get to be a hawk and pick on anyone you so choose. Wow. What a club. Join my club. All you gotta do is wear this goofy uniform and you can pick on people and you don't have to follow the rules yourself. So we end up with these clubs, and the game wardens are no different. You have people who I believe at some level in their being, in their conscience, are good people, but they certainly signed up to be hawks. Do they just gloss over the fact that no hunting on Sunday just doesn't make sense, and that a pen first and not a knife or a gun or a bow makes absolutely no sense? Most of the time they do. But when they choose to enforce those rules, they're not glossing over it. They're taking it very seriously. That's their weapon. That's their tool to get you in trouble. To pick on you, to prey on you. I'd like to say that this is all nonsense and that I'm just strange for thinking this. I can guarantee if you ever have problems, if you ever get hurt, those people will be there to help. So it becomes even more confusing. They're not totally bad, but they're not totally good either. And if it was me, how do I sleep at night knowing that I've done things that can possibly ruin other people's lives? And you can say, well, if someone is ruined by tickets or whatever, then they're just have issues already. I guess you could write it off like that. But not really. Not really. If you get 2 tickets within 5 years, if I go out in a canoe drinking beer on state land or something like that and get a ticket, if I go down the road and get some sort of ticket, if I get any sort of game violation twice in 5 years, then you lose your hunting license. You take it taken away. Now you're going to tell me that that doesn't ruin people's lives? Taking away their right to do something that they may have wanted to do their entire life? Their entire life might revolve around hunting and fishing and trapping. So you get hunting violations and now all of a sudden you can't fish? What do you think your God or your Jesus would think of that? Do you think that was very godly? To take away someone's right to hunt or fish? Now you would think that these would be rights, but they're not. I keep calling them rights, and I think other people do too, but I think they're actually considered privileges. It's just another thing like driving. It's a privilege. You're privileged to be able to drive. It's not your right. You're not actually just allowed to do it. It's a privilege. It's a dog treat. It's a little play toy. And if you're bad or if you're naughty or if we don't like you, we'll take it away. What a nice world to be a part of. What a nice race What a nice species we have to be involved in. We didn't have a choice in this. This stuff was set up long before we were born, and it just continues to snowball and grow and become more monstrous and grotesque, eating people as it rolls down the mountain. If nothing else, I'm paying attention, and I might have a few more things to say about all of this. No matter what happens, take away my rights? I don't think so. Sometimes it's best to be a worm and to crawl back in a hole and hide. But I'm not a dog, and I'm not a worm either. I've got these things to say, and I plan on saying more.